Hello and welcome to I Helped Make That. Today, we are talking to the makeup artist of Little Nicky, Camille Calvet. Thanks for coming on, Camille.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, but because we are talking about Little Nicky, we're not going to be sponsored by Anchor. Instead, we are going to be sponsored by Popeye's Chicken. Because the whole movie was a Popeye's Chicken ad. So anytime you talk about it, you have to mention Popeye's Chicken. So, hello. Do you like food that's fucking awesome? If you do, go to Popeye's Chicken. Because Popeye's Chicken is a shiznit. So get in the flask and go to Popeye's Chicken. Okay. I promise I won't talk like that for the rest of the show. But I had to get it out.
Very well done.
Thank you. So, thanks again, Camille, for coming on. Before we begin, do you want to know how I first heard about this movie?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, here's what happened. I was like 7 to 8 years old. My brother took me to see The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle in theaters. They played the trailer, I think it was actually the teaser trailer for this movie, and they it was kind of one of those like fake trailers where it pretends to be a trailer for something and then turns out to be a trailer for something else. So the trailer was like at the beginning pretending to be like a trailer for a legit horror movie. So I ended up running out of the theater thinking it was like a legit scary movie trailer. And my brother had to bring me back in
Oh,
and was
you
like,
didn't want it to be.
and then my brother had to bring me back in and it was like, no, it's just this silly little movie.
You know his number. You know his name. And this fall, you'll meet his son.
Hello, friend. My name is Nicky.
Well, the Lord loves you, and the Lord loves you. You make the Lord very nervous.
He's here to save the world, and nothing can stop him.
Enough with the chicken. We ain't got much time. Let's get cracking.
But tell me, Camille, how did you get the job to work on Little Nicky?
Well, I had KMB. I don't know if you're aware of them. KMB is a big, huge makeup effects lab that I've worked with since the 80s. They're one of the owners, Howard, is an Academy Award winner, and one of the other owners, Greg Nicotero, is the executive producer now of Walking Dead and director. So I have worked with them forever, and they would always send me out on shows. But this came up, I had just done The Cell, which was a really, really dark movie, very hard to do. The prosthetics were super hard, and they had created all the prosthetics for The Cell as well. And I got done with that, and they said, "Hey, we got this show," and Little Nicky with Adam Sandler. And I was like, that's what I need, a nice comedy. And so as it turned out, they had so many makeup effects on there that we had trailers full of makeup effects, and the demons that we were all in to do were all makeup effects artists that worked at KMB in the shop. So it was just all around crazy fun experience, and I could not turn that down. Plus, I needed something lighthearted after working on the cell.
Yeah. So, as you said, there were demons, there were horns, there were people wearing like white makeup, Kevin Nealon, of course. So you
Boobs on
said,
the head.
yeah, and the boobs on the head. So, like when you were hired to work on that, did you help develop the look, or was the look already kind of developed for you?
Completely, it was already developed. KMB had developed all the prosthetics, and Anna Paula, developed Sandler's look. And no, it was all in. It was a walk-in situation for me, which was wonderful. It was just, come in and do a demon. And then, of course, they give you all other makeups too. But we were all each assigned one demon. And then that was our major to do, because you see them, they're all in the background, and that was before CGI. They didn't CGI any of those demons in any of those scenes. And if you look, they're all over hell, they're all over the Central Park, they're everywhere, and there was many of them, and they were all actual makeups that we had to do.
Yeah. So, what demon were you assigned to create?
I was actually it's a guy named Jim, and he was the only one that wasn't an effects artist. Because like I said, we had the effects artists in to do them, but every one of the demons was played by one of the guys that worked at the shop, sculptors, mold makers, friends we've known for years, because this way they got to get SAG hours and get union hours and like puppeteering work. Just paid a little bit better, and it was just fun for them to be on the set. So I had Jim, and he actually came from the cell with me. He was D'Onofrio's stand-in on the cell, and because KMB had done all of the prosthetics for the cell, they already had Jim's casts, all his live casts, so they were able to create masks for him. So I had the only one that wasn't a makeup effects artist.
Okay. Now, just out of curiosity, do you remember who was in charge of like creating the horns on the devils, or the ghost face, or the boobs on the head?
The actual sculptors, no, I do not know. But it was all at the KMB lab, all of it. And Mike McCarthy, who ran the lab, I believe he was running at the time, he played, he came in, he played the Big Bird and the Bigfoot. He was in both those outfits. And so I'm sure he designed those.
Okay. So then, when you were on set, did you get to interact with the other cast and crew, like Adam and his friends and all of those cameos, or was it more just the guy playing Jimmy?
No, we had to completely interact with all of them. We would get our demons done, and then we would have whoever came in that day. Reese Effens might have to come in and get his, when he, one of the brothers, when he had his horns on, he'd come into the trailer, and we'd have to do those. So it's just kind of everybody that came in. I remember Ozzy came through the trailer, and Henry Winkler. And so, yeah, we got to do all those too. And there's interactions, and all of, Sandler's friends, we always call them FOAs, friends of Sandler's, which the whole show is just peppered with them. And it was was just always a fun time. It was always just like a party. There was never any downtime. It was like, certainly coming from a show like The Cell, it was such a breeze. It was great. It was just fun to be on that set.
Yeah. So do you have any like fun stories about being on the set and like interacting with them and doing their makeup?
Well, one of the stories, it was all at night, which I always tell myself, watch when you're doing a show that's set in hell, or a vampire show, or anything that has night cold or anything in the title. And this didn't, but we were shooting all at night, and it was freezing. I think it was in the winter. Yeah, it's California, but it still gets really cold out here at night. Um, so one of the things was we always had to get these demons done, had to get them out there. So we got them all done and we put them out, and then they would never use them. And because if they were using them, we had to dress them. We had to get their hands on, get their contacts in, get their teeth in. So the one demon that you did, you had to be their dresser as well on set. And so they would call and they would like, oh, we need 5 demons. And they'd pick the demons. Howard Berger from KMB would pick the demons, and we'd get them all dressed. We'd get them put in there, and they'd go up there, and they were never on camera. It was like very rarely. I actually rewatched it last night, and I was like, they were never on camera. So just quite a few got some good close up. So that was one of the fun things. Fun, not for the poor guys that we had to put their eyes in and everything, and they're standing around doing nothing. But the other thing, being that we were in trailers with all makeup artists, fun ensues. And one of the demons, played by Mark Tavares, he's a cartoonist, and he worked over at KMB, but he would start drawing cartoons of all of us. And for the longest time, he didn't draw me, and I was, kind of upset about that. But he was making fun of everybody. So he would draw all these cartoons about Adam, about Harvey Keitel, but they were just hysterical. And finally, he included me in, and I was made fun of. They put me in as a cat because I was one of the only women on the show in those trailers. And they said I was complaining about everything. I think that was a setup, actually, because I wasn't. But they always drew me as a cat and mewing, that I was mewing because I was upset with everything, like it being 3 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable because as someone who's worked as a background extra, I've had to work those overnight shoots, and they can get pretty tiring. uh
Yes.
After a while, like I mentioned this on another episode, but there's literally an SNL episode I did as a background extra on, where I fell asleep while they were shooting,
Oh,
and it's on camera. Yeah, it's in the back.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, but
Well, essentially, all of our demons were background. So, even though they thought they had lines or something, they were all background as well. And I'm sure they all fell asleep.
yeah, but actually, I gotta be honest, like doing that kind of makeup, and doing something like big budget like that is something I've always wanted to do. It does seem like it would be a lot of fun, if a little nerve-wracking. Uh, but like, it is like just something I've always sort of wanted to do, not gonna lie. Although, how many hours did it take to apply that makeup?
That was kind of another joke because we had all different temperaments of makeup artists, and basically these demons you could throw them on fast. It was like 45 minutes to just do the face. However, we had ones that would take too long. And because there was makeup artists sitting in the chair, and that's why they were hired, because, a lot of background cannot do this type of work, wearing all the prosthetics. But then you have, makeup artists taking way too long and doing all this detail, and the poor other demon sitting in the chair is like, come on, no one ever sees me. And but yeah, Howard Berger was about the fastest. I think he'd get a demon done in like 20 minutes. He just cruised through them. But yeah, I think the average was 45 to an hour for that. But then again, you're talking, then they have to go through wardrobe, put on the big hoods and everything. Then, like I said, we get them out there and under a tent, and we have the dressing tents where you're putting on their gloves, and then they go to the eye table where they get their contacts put in, and then you have to give them their teeth. So it's hard. It's actually hard, and I think that's why we had all makeup artists do it. And I also worked on Star Trek Deep Space Nine for like 10 years. And we had our background that wore all the prosthetics. They were there with us the entire time. So they, it's hard. It's hard to wear those prosthetics. So once you find a background person that wears them well, I think we have a man on there called Bill Blair, which was the most characters in Star Trek. And he was a background player. But they just have my respect because they go through all of that, and they are background. They aren't getting featured very often.
Yeah, I can see that, even though I haven't done it for a movie, and I did say that it would be kind of fun doing like a makeup heavy role one day, even if it is like background. I did play like a zombie for a Halloween party. So they had to put on this like all this like zombie makeup on me, and it took forever to get off. Probably actually
I was
took
going to say, who was there to take it off?
No, I actually had to take it off myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to I was like traveling back home with the zombie makeup on.
Hope
Yeah.
you didn't get pulled over.
And it was Halloween night, so I think people understood. But with that all being said, another thing I can relate to is that I've also been a background extra on another Adam Sandler movie, albeit one that probably didn't have to have as much. I mean, not to knock, the crew members who worked on it, but because it was a bit more of had more of a grounded in reality setting, probably didn't have as much, complex things going back and forth working on it, which is the week of. And in that set, there was sort of a sense of fun, and looseness that I'm sure I'll hear about, when I talk about other Adam Sandler movies. Like, Adam was always sort of joking around with his friends. Uh, I even remember like
Mhm.
he would be joking when like during the middle of the take. Um,
Yes.
like and like they were like signing autographs in between takes. So yeah, the Happy Madison movies can be sometimes more fun to make than to watch sometimes. And I'd say this movie is like kind of in between that. Like it's kind of hit and miss as a movie. The makeup's great. I do think you all did a great job.
Looking
Like,
back as 23. Yeah. It looks
yeah,
very hokey looking back, but that's what it was supposed to be. So they nailed it.
yeah, yeah. I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I have no idea why. Go ahead. Sorry.
sorry. I was just gonna say, like, it's like some like Like, I've seen way worse Adam Sandler movies than this one, but, it is sort of like one of those movies, like, anytime a joke is funny, the next joke is just like, "Come on now."
You can't talk tough, Nicky. Even the voice inside your head has a speech impediment.
I guess I can't make you do this. Okay, mercy, you win. I guess game over.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I never know why it was panned. I mean, we had fun making it, but I've worked on other Adam Sandler movies, and yes, there's a lot of joking around. It's always fun to work on them. I was out in Hawaii on 51st Dates for that whole movie. It was great. But I have no idea why it was panned. We had fun making it. It was fun. I said I just watched it last night, and I still think it's hysterical. And
Yeah.
some of the best lines that came
Mhm.
out of it, I have no idea
Yeah.
why it got panned so bad.
You know what, I think
Because it really,
sorry, go on.
no, I just said it. I think it holds up. I think it's funny.
You know what? It wasn't as it was actually more entertaining than I remember it being. I guess it's like there's something about Sandler's humor that just doesn't vibe with critics. And I think that's maybe why it got panned. But I think when it is funny, it is a really funny movie. It's just sometimes I don't know. I think there's just some things about Sandler's humor that is like off-putting to critics, and because that's first and foremost what it's just trying to be is funny. It can kind of I don't know, like I don't know how to say it, like I don't know, there's just something about Sandler's humor that just doesn't always seem to vibe with critics. Like maybe they find it too
Yeah,
immature, or
probably. And I know they always have issues with the voice. They always had issues with his voice when he
yeah.
plays that. But everyone loves that from SNL. It was just like he's got characters that do the voice, and then he does the romantic character, and he's great. But this show, I think, was just so random in its comedy. Um, just like what was Clint Howard doing, and it's just very very random, which I find funny. And I think perhaps they couldn't put it together. It just wasn't vibing
Yeah.
for everyone, the whole movie, because there was just so many random things going on in it.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe just another thing is like the previous Sandler movies were kind of grounded in reality, and this is kind of full randomness, weirdness, fantasy. So that's maybe why like it bombed when it first came out, but kind of found its audience over time, especially as I seem to remember this played on cable a lot back in like the mid 2000s.
Oh,
Yeah, like I think I first actually saw it on cable like I want to say maybe 2004, 2005. Yeah,
when you were a little older.
yes, when I was a little older. Yeah, like I think, like Comedy Central I think played it a lot. Yeah,
Well,
but
I mean, he's still making money on it, so I had to pay for it last night
well, yeah,
to watch it.
I had to pay for it too. Uh though fortunately I know it was on HBO Max like just a couple months ago. I guess we just unfortunately missed it. Yeah. But yeah, I will also say though that yeah, yeah, uh where do we go from here? I think that's a perfect place to end it. It may not have been like the most financially successful Sandler movie of all time, but it's one that
What did
definitely
it
had
make?
its fans.
Did you ever look that up?
Yeah, it made like,
Yeah.
and I think it was like actually his first bomb. Oh, 58.3 million. And the budget was
It's
like,
not a sneeze.
yeah, but the budget was like 80 million, 85
Oops,
million.
sorry. Oh, geez.
I think
It's probably
also,
because of all the cameos.
yeah, I think also, well, the cameos and the makeup and, all the heavy prosthetics and makeup and special effects and sets and stuff like that. I also think this came out,
Yeah, the sets are beautiful too.
yeah, I think it also came out in November, so it was probably another reason it bombed because that's like a big movie month. So like it had probably a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
competition to face. I think
I'm
this
sure it
movie,
did.
yeah, I think it would have done better in theaters and maybe found its audience more quickly had it come out in the summer, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does feel like more of a song.
yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure why it came out in November. Like, 8 Crazy Nights also came out around then, but that was like a holiday movie, so I get that. Who knows why,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But anyway, before we go, do you have anything to plug?
No, well, you know my company, because after doing years and years and years of prosthetics, I started getting wrinkles, and I actually turned silicone that we were using for actors' masks that you saw a lot on that show on Little Nicky, and I turned them into anti-wrinkle products. So that's kind of what you see behind me, and it's called Silk Skin. It's a silicone, and they're used for anti-wrinkles instead of making monsters and aliens.
Okay. Well, anyway, that was I Helped Make That. And as always, if you want to eat anything, go to Popeye's Chicken.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.